and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insane Lear 13. As we're preparing to go away for our 6th out of 7 rounds here of Sunshine League's 1960s Formula 1 Championship. There on the screen right now is the lap times that will be setting the grid today. Most notably, it is going to be an easy pole position for LMR Critical, but not by much because Juice at the very last moment squeezed out a time that matched it down to the thousandths of a second. So Critical and Juice, their split at the front is going to be decided within 10 thousandths. I'll be right back. So real quickly before we get underway for today's event, looks like we're going to be running a 2/3 distance. Not a half distance, but a 2/3 distance. We were initially supposed to be doing a 25 lap race. Looks like that's been cut down to 17. So real quickly, we want to look at the championship standings as they are right now. So SRL technically runs 2 separate championships, one for professional drivers that have run in series before, one that's amateurs. Mr. Sunshine leads 392 points. Lou Crispy is second, 381. Third is Larry B. the G with 370. Fourth is EXR Juice with 365. Fifth is LMR Critical with 303. Sixth is LMP Links with 274. Seventh is Raygun vs. Zombie with 168. Eighth is Douche Machine with 94. And ninth is SFM Darks with 86. In the amateurs, Vera leads by 370 points. Vera Teminks leads with 370 points. Apex Blade leads with is second with 272. Third is Racing Jason with 178. Fourth is CoinC 5803 with 88 points, and fifth is SDR Jamora with 86 points. If we merged everything together, interestingly enough, Larry B and Vera would actually be tied for third in the championship, despite the fact that Vera's only earned 1 podium this season, and Larry has failed to score a podium yet this year. Consistency has been key, and when it comes down to it, when it comes to the overall championship fight, there's a 4-way fight between Sunshine, Lucas Speed, Larry B, and EXR Juiced. LMR Critical is still technically within championship striking range, but he would need all of the drivers ahead of him to basically miss next week's race. I don't know if that's going to happen. Speaking of LMR Critical, he may be starting on the pole position. However, we only had 4 laps under qualifying. The very first lap was just kind of an out lap. Critical invalidated, cutting the inside a little bit too tight in the cobblestone hairpin, so his first lap didn't really count for anything. His second lap also did not count for anything because the game said that he technically started the second lap while trying to gain an unfair advantage. His third lap, he went right to the top, and then the moment they started on the 4th lap, he damaged and destroyed his car. So similar to what we saw in qualifying at Spa, where Critical put down a blitzscreen lap, but then crashed, and in that case, he actually rolled the car all the way over. In qualifying here, he didn't roll the car, but it had significant damage to the steering and the transmission. This could end up being a very problematic day for him as we're preparing to get onto the circuit proper now. 7 drivers for today's event. So we're finally kind of on the way back up after our last 2 only had 6 and 5 drivers respectively, kind of back on the way up. Next week will be the season finale at Nürburgring, Nordschleife, but here on the streets of Rio, we see everyone load onto the circuit and they'll be underway. Drivers with nearly perfect match times at the front. What can they pull off here today? And they're off. Juiced, Critical, on the run down into turn number 1. Juice slides his car just ahead of Critical, but cannot complete the pass. Critical has that really ultra-light Ferrari. He may not have much power, but he has no issue putting the power down and accelerating. Thing is, he's now lost second now to Mr. Sunshine. Critical has slipped to third. Here comes Larry B. the G. It's already going bad for Critical at the start here. Your leader, EXR Juice, runs extremely wide. So does Mr. Sunshine. Critical now begins to accelerate away from Larry and starts to set his sights on Mr. Sunshine. Through the tunnel now. Juice holds the lead. Sunshine, Critical, fighting for second. Critical on the outside, Sunshine inside. They're around the entirety of this fictional Very chaotic street circuit. High speed right, left here. You can see that Ferrari of Criticals gets a great run through the corners just by default of being so much lighter. He's on the inside of Sunshine. Looks like he should be able to make the overtake here. Juice went extremely wide in that hairpin at the highest part of the circuit. Now they come roaring downhill. Critical setting his sights back on the XR Juiced. Right on board with Sunshine as you see Juiced and Critical coming down over the bump. You can see the cars gain air under the tires as they leap downhill. Juiced barely holding station. He's into the wall! Juiced is into the wall! And he's not the only one! Critical also hit the wall there. Is there damage on Critical's car? That's going to be the big question now. Is Critical's car damaged? Because if it is, that could have a massive effect. It says that there's already transmission damage. But what of Juiced, who went nose first into the wall? And you can see there, the steering is destroyed, the transmission is destroyed, the driveline is destroyed in the same way. It is not looking good at all for Juiced here on this first lap. Or is this a little bit slow right now? So, Critical, after wrecking and qualifying, is fighting with Sunshine. Critical needs to win this race and needs Sunshine to miss next week's event if he wants a shot at winning this championship. Critical cuts down in front of Sunshine. The Ferrari has great initial acceleration. However, Sunshine is anticipated to have stronger straight line speed. They get into turn 3. Sunshine pushes Critical a little bit wide. Larry, who has not been able to get into a podium position all season long, is just right there hanging on the tailcoats of this fight right now. Sunshine goes to the outside of Critical. You don't want to go side by side through that corner, but man, they sure came close to making it that way. Critical holds the inside. Sunshine's going to swing wide. They'll file back in a single file on the run uphill. This is the section of the circuit where we anticipate Critical's Ferrari will have the biggest advantage, especially because he doesn't have to worry about someone ahead of him. Again, everyone is required to make at least one stop in today's race. So, for Juiced, who won last week's event but has crashed on lap 1 here, it's not over. If he was able to limp the car back into the pits, which we believe he was able to do, he should be fine. Oh, Critical! Wow, you can see how sideways that thing got. And now they come down to the jump, down the hill. Horrible camera transition. You can't see how the tires actually get some air under them. Our top two now beginning to pull away a bit from Larry, who is third. Vera, who earned her first podium of the season last week at Road America. Now, oh, Critical's into the wall. Kind of a long drag against the wall there. Apparently there's no more damage to the machine, so it's not an issue for him yet. But he had it, and that's the kind of thing. Although at Monza it wasn't really an issue. At the other two circuits he's won at, both Silverstone and Spa, Critical has had a moment where he's taken the lead very early in the race, and then a self-inflicted mistake has caused him to lose that and then fall back behind. And Critical into the outside wall. Now he touches the inside wall. He's all sideways, and he was opening a gap on Sunshine, and now he's brought Sunshine back into the fray. Oh, I think Critical is still fine. For Critical, he can afford to bounce off walls a little bit. The problem is, though, if he takes even an iota of damage, Sunshine is going to be all over him and is going to make it a problem. Already, our leaders have pulled out more than a second of a lap advantage over Larry B. the G, who is in third. Your other championship... Oh, and Critical's in the inside wall! Critical has hit the inside wall! Is the car damaged? Because if it is damaged, that could... No, there is no damage to the car. Critical is still fine, but he has given the lead over to Sunshine in the process. That may have been Critical's mulligan. We've seen in the last two races he won. He would hit a wall, or he would spin out, get sideways, lose a position, and then have to fight back into the front. That may have been it. Now is Critical going to be able to keep his nose clean like he did at Spa and Silverstone earlier in the season? For Sunshine, who won our second race of the season, all the way back at the Bernice Alps circuit, he is leading your championship by virtue of starting every race outside of the season opener at Monza, Sunshine basically is in a position where as long as he's ahead of ludicrous speed, he'll pretty much wrap up the championship if he can just pull that off here today and then do the same thing next week at Nürburgring. For Critical, he needs Sunshine to crash out and ideally not make the next event. Oh my gosh, you can see Critical jumping the curb there, really pushing, grinding, trying to catch back up to Sunshine. These are two of your winners. Here we are. Critical launches to the inside of Sunshine. That puts him on the outside here in this hairpin. This is the corner where Critical invalidated his lap on the banker in qualifying. Critical holding the tighter inside line. Sunshine's a little bit wider on the outside. Again, Sunshine's machine has more power. So when it comes to a straight, Sunshine should be able to pull away, but there's not really any proper straight here. This circuit is very flowy. You don't really stay in a straight line long enough for a power advantage to really work out. This should be, in all honesty, the strongest circuit we're going to see for the Ferrari across the entire course of the season. You can tell Larry, who has struggled to even be close to podium positions, on merit, he is running in third right now. And Critical, I think if Critical can just avoid hitting walls, he might be able to sneak by Sunshine on the outside of one of these corners. Or maybe even in the tunnel. He thought of it. He thought of going for it in the tunnel. Sunshine doing a fantastic job blocking the line for Critical, but now he's hit the inside wall and the outside wall. Here comes Critical. He's going to have a great run. He's right behind, and he's into the outside wall. He had a lunge, went to look a little wide, went into the outside wall. Is the car damaged? I don't believe so. No damage. He'll be able to continue. Sunshine, though, opens up the gap just a bit now. Ludicrous Speed is in 5th. He started the season very strong, but as it's gone on, he has slowly fallen off. Missed last week's race at Road America. So he doesn't really have any more mulligans he can use. And with Sunshine leading the points and currently leading the race, actually pulling on Critical, the first driver we've seen all season long to be able to do that against Critical, that pretty much is going to make Ludicrous's championship hopes fade away, potentially. Nothing's guaranteed yet, and the title won't be wrapped up today. Mathematically, there are way too many pieces in play for the championship to be wrapped up today, and it will likely come down to who does or doesn't show up next week and where they all finish. But at the front, Critical, he's now cut the gap back down to about a second. So we know that he's fast enough to catch Sunshine, and we saw him stay ahead, get past and then get back by him earlier. But now that we're in actual hardcore racing mode, we are not seeing a lot of proper scenarios for Critical to get by. At the front, there's really no other battles on track. Everyone is on their own at this stage of the event. Like you can see on the map, everyone else is just running solo in their own race. The fight is 100% at the front right now. Right out the back of Sunshine's machine, as you can see Critical behind. You can see how quickly and how nimbly that Ferrari navigates the corners. But Sunshine seems confident. He seems well hooked up. These two drivers have won 4 of the 5 races we have had completed thus far this season. And right now, it looks like it's going to be down to them for this one. Critical's within 2/3 of a second. Coming to the jump now. The jump there is honestly not nearly as bad as it is at Nürburgring Nordschleife, where they'll be going next week. But it is significant enough that a bad landing can absolutely destroy your day. Thus far, Critical has had the fastest lap of the day thus far. Consistency is going to be key, and it does not seem like it's going to work out for Critical right now. He needs Sunshine to make a mistake or needs something to happen right now. This is the drone cam. Into the tunnel they go. Oh, Sunshine's into the outside wall. That let Critical lunge just a bit. So the fight's very much alive. Up. This is probably where that Ferrari is at strongest at. Very nearly side by side there. And you can see how much they're grinding on the wheels to try and make something of this. Run downhill. Another sweeping left-hander here. And then a tight right, and then the track will kind of fall out from under them. Right on board with Critical as we see him watch Sunshine ahead. A little bit of air. Just enough to cause a little bit of concern, but not enough to cause an issue. Sunshine may have hit the wall there. Critical is now very much preserved and calmed down through those chicanes. They're not really a true chicane with these cars. He's just kind of straight lining the first half of it. Sunshine is struggling a lot more to try and rain like, you know, you ran a washcloth valve. Trying to rain extra performance out of his machine through there, but right now, I think handling is key. Critical taps the outside wall. Here comes the move to the inside. Sunshine comes down, blocks it. Not going to happen yet. Into turn 2 now. Critical makes contact with Sunshine's left rear. Cannot make any move there because there's just no room. Trying to cross him over, coming out of 3. Run uphill now. Could this be it? This might be it. Side by side, Critical has his nose ahead. Sunshine should have the power to outrun him, but he's going to back out. He does not want to go side by side with the Ferrari into the tunnel. All right, these are the corners where Critical lost it to Sunshine. Not this time, though. Critical has the position. Sunshine trying to fight back on the outside. Taps the wall. He's going to lose a chunk of time. Critical has a bad run, though, in the subsequent corner. Sunshine is still right there. But this is a part of the track where that Ferrari is at its strongest. High-speed corner where nimbleness is key. And that Ferrari, being extremely light, is probably the most nimble vehicle out there. Up to the very top, the hairpin at the top of the circuit. Sunshine runs extremely wide, and now the gap is ballooning outward massively. It's already at more than 3/4 of a second between the top two. Sunshine, this run downhill, will be able to close it back down just a little bit. It's one of the few areas where you can let the superior horsepower kind of breathe a bit. But now they come back to the hill section once more. Oh, Critical, all sorts of sideways. Sunshine's right there behind. He's within 30 feet. But under brake, you need to be careful through here. Both of them avoid the tire barriers. Critical could not straight line at that time. In fact, it was Sunshine who did a bit more of a straight lining. May have straight lined it a bit too much. But it looks like that fight for a lead for now might be over. And the question now is just going to be, of our top two, do either of them make a mistake? Larry, who is in third position, is 9 seconds off of this fight. So he has lost a little bit more than a second to lap on this battle. Oh, Critical right on the inside curves, maybe a little bit too much. He's still keeping it on. In fact, he's actually opening up the gap massively. It's now already more than 1.2 seconds. If he can just keep it off the walls, he might be able to open up a significant advantage over Sunshine. Critical really slides that rear tire wide. You can see he's not backing out at all. He is absolutely grinding. He's into the outside wall again. Sunshine's also into the outside wall on the exact same part of the track. Sunshine's actually closed the gap down just a bit there. Oh, Critical's hit the wall. He's hit both walls hard. No damage, but he's lost the lead again to Sunshine in the process. Sunshine's gonna go back by. That's the second time that Critical has hit walls in the mountain section and has let Sunshine by. It took Critical about 5 laps earlier to make the overtake work. So with that in mind, we should anticipate by lap 13, Critical should be back ahead of Sunshine. So yeah, Critical outright faster. There is no doubt in anyone's mind that he is faster than Sunshine. But Sunshine's mistakes are much more minimal thus far. Critical seems to be a lot more prone to bouncing off of walls and losing a chunk of time. He's lucky that he's hit every wall very flush and he has not taken any significant damage to the handling of the car, to the suspension, the steering, or anything else. SDR Dramora making a stop farther ahead of these guys, but I don't anticipate that he's going to have an impact on this lead group. EXR Juice in 7th, also making what will be his second stop as well. So Juice, for all intents and purposes, out of the race contention as he goes a lap down. Oh my goodness, Dramora! Right there, and Critical is caught up in a crash with Dramora! LMR Critical is caught up in a crash with Dramora as they were coming out of the pit lane! His steering is destroyed! The transmission is destroyed! It is horrible news! And for Dramora, what's the damage on his car? Nothing! Dramora is able to continue! But for Critical, we may see a race. He's not going to win. That car is significantly damaged. And now this is perfect news for Sunshine. He can scoot away. For Critical, he may not even be able to finish second. Third might even be off the table for him because Vera is 25 seconds behind, and if she just doesn't make any mistakes, she could sneak back by Critical here. But this basically gives Sunshine the victory by default, as SDR Dramora was just coming out of the pit lane and was dropped onto the track right in front of Critical. There was nowhere for the Ferrari to go, and Sunshine's wrecked! Sunshine is wrecked as well! Sunshine has had an accident in the mountain section! Both of our leaders have had accidents! Critical is now back in the lead! What in the devil is this race? How much damage does Sunshine have? None! He should be able to take the lead back without too much issue. Oh, come on, Forza, don't kick me. Forza! Juiced has dropped out. Juiced has now dropped out of the race. Critical, you can see him into the outside wall there. But this is huge for Critical, though, because Sunshine has had an accident on the same lap that Critical did. So right now, both of these drivers still need to make a stop. If Critical's still really close to Sunshine, it could work out. Here's the other thing, though. Larry B is right now ahead of Sunshine. Larry B is in track to be lead, and SDR Dramora right now is ahead of this group as well. He could end up causing more chaos because Larry, Sunshine, Dramora, they're 3 wide for the moment. Sunshine is right there behind Larry, fighting for a lead. And this is great news. This could be what Critical needs to get back into the fray because he has not lost too much time after Sunshine's had an instant. It has turned into a 3-way fight for this victory here. Sunshine into the outside wall. He's having trouble. Sunshine's got to pit. Sunshine has to pit, and he's going to have to pit on the same lap Critical does. So for Larry, it's just a matter of turn laps as quickly as you can, as smoothly as you can. This has been nuts. This is a bizarro race. We are now down to just 6 drivers. Sunshine will hold position over Critical for the moment. Larry, who is leading, still has yet to make his first stop of the day. The other thing, Vera is coming up. She might cause a little bit of trouble. No, she does not push the issue against Critical. So Sunshine is not that far away. So despite both of our leaders having an accident, it is not over yet. this fight, unlike any other race we've seen outside of Bernice House, where it went down last lap, last corner, right now, this fight for this victory could go down similarly last lap, last corner. And the other thing to consider is that this trio here, Sunshine, Critical, and Vera, they're going to have to come up on Dramora one more time, while Larry should not have to worry about Dramora for a bit. If anything, if I'm in Larry's position, I'm just going to keep running laps for now until I know that I'm way ahead enough of Dramora that I don't have to worry about overtaking him later. Granted, Larry could also choose to pit now and hope that he ends up in the middle of this fight, as there to capitalize if these two start baiting off of walls again. But yeah, as Sunshine Critical start spending a lot of time fighting, it could bring Larry back into the fray. Larry, who has not had a podium yet this season, could be, it looks like he's on the edge of contention for this victory today. Critical is well pulled away from Vera at this stage in the event. I can't believe we've seen both of our leaders wreck, and they're both still in it. The pace that these two have had over the rest of the field is incredible. Larry has chosen to stay out. The gap between first and second is 23 seconds right now, and we're anticipating it's only going to get get tighter. There may have been an accident ahead from Dramora. Dramora may have dealt with another incident. Dramora's car is slow at the moment. What's going on with him? He's on the right-hand side, very slow. Grinding against the wall. He may have damaged his car. Let's see. Yeah, there's your answer. Yeah, Dramora, the walls have finally reached out and caught him. And it looks like this will pretty much lock him into 6th place by default. Sunshine's hit the outside wall there. And Critical is close. Critical's hit the wall as well now. Critical hits the wall and kind of noses into the inside wall in the process. Lost a bunch of speed. No damage, though. But that's going to open the gap again in Sunshine's favor. We ride on board the Ferrari. We're anticipating Larry to make a stop any moment now. To the run downhill. 3.2 seconds is the gap. This fight for a lead is spread out just a bit. Oh, and Critical's into the wall! That's probably gonna do it! That will end it for sure! Critical, how damaged is the car destroyed? Oh, Dramora hits him just for good measure! And Lucas nearly wrecks as well in the same corner! That will seal the deal! And Critical, any chance he had of winning this race is over! That's his second massive accident of the day! And this is going to drop him all the way probably back to 5th. He still has an entire lap ahead of Dramora, so there's no risk of Dramora overtaking him. And for Sunshine, while it's not going to lock up the championship for him, it's going to come pretty bloody close to doing so. And for Larry, this is a little bit of a good news and a little bit of bad news. The good news is he is on pace and in track to come home second. The bad news, though, is that now, with nothing really pressuring him, Sunshine just needs to put together some consistent, clean laps, and he'll still come out of this race with this victory. So I hate to say it, but that fight has pretty much meant that Sunshine will pull ahead of Larry B by default. But the Ferrari continues to lead here. A little bit of a fight for third. Ludicrous Speed runs behind Vera Tabinks. As an Eagle versus a Brabham, the Eagle's going to have incredible straight line speed, as you can see, because of the massive engine in that car. But its handling is very, very poor. Honestly, one of the poorest in the grid. So a fight for third. The last step on the podium has broken out at this stage in the race. They have a 30-second gap on Critical, and I don't see Critical closing 6 seconds or more a lap. Ludicrous needs to get by Vera just to try and help his championship hopes right now, because it is his rival, Sunshine, who is leading this race right now. Neck and neck. This is a really tight corner to be doing this at. Ludicrous around the outside. He's made it stick. That was a great overtake. Very well done by Ludicrous Speed. He'll move up into the third position now. And the Eagle, which was anticipated to be the worst handling of the cars around this circuit, he is grinding some performance out of it. And between our top two fastest drivers having accidents and Juice being completely taken out, Ludicrous could still walk out of here with a third. Vera's keeping him honest for now, though. Sunshine's closed the gap on Larry down to 20.5 seconds. They're really having a little bit of trouble there. And Ludicrous also, as we can hear, hit that car, that Eagle bouncing off of walls. But he's making it work for now, and it's slowly opening the gap between himself and Vera Tabinks. 2 seconds now is the gap. The question, when is Larry B, our current leader, going to make a stop? Sunshine is closing on him. And we anticipate that Sunshine will leapfrog over Larry. The question is going to be, how far ahead of Ludicrous Speed will Larry be? Fighting for what I believe is going to be his first podium of the season. He stays out another lap, though. And I don't really blame him. It's completely clean track ahead. He doesn't have to really worry about anything at the moment. It's actually opened the gap just a small amount on Sunshine. I have to wonder if Sunshine has just come to a point where he's just kind to take it a little bit carefully here. He does have a bit of transmission damage, apparently. I think Sunshine's probably not pushing too hard. He knows that will inherit the lead over Larry once that lead Ferrari pits. Sunshine won earlier this season at Bernice House, a circuit that's vaguely similar to that. It's basically made on roads on a very flowy and elevation change focused circuit. But Bernice House is a much wider track compared to this one here. So Critical might be able to recover a little bit. He is closing down on Vera and might be able to catch Vera on the last lap here. Fastest lap of the day still in his favor. Wait, has Sunshine just crashed? Oh my goodness, Sunshine has now had a second accident! His car is destroyed! Larry might win this race! Larry is pitting now, but Sunshine is completely and badly damaged! The gap has opened up in Larry's favor! Larry might pull off a victory! He's not been on the podium all season long, and now he might be able to walk out here with a victory! And for Ludicrous Speed, who's already made a stop, he is now sneaking up on Sunshine at this stage of the race. He might be able to sneak out here with a second! The turns continue to table here. And Sunshine's accident, not only does it drop him down to third, this puts him in position where he could end up fighting with Vera and Critical for this position. Vera is coming down right now with speed. Sunshine's coming out of pit lane. No, Vera's making her stop now. Never mind. So Critical finally takes fourth, and Critical now has a chance to fight once more with Sunshine. But Larry now is in the position to win here. A very unexpected victory. Ferrari would still have taken 5 of the 6 race wins we've had thus far this season. But if Larry can just keep it off the wall to the end here, he is going to bring home his first podium this season with a win. This also will have a massive knock-on effect on the championship, I imagine, because Larry is third in title points, Ludicrous is second, and Sunshine is first. With those 3 being inverted, the fight for the title among the 3 of them will actually all close up quite a bit. And Critical's down to 2.4 seconds behind Mr. Sunshine. 12 seconds is the advantage that Larry has over Ludicrous. And both of them are a long ways ahead. As long as neither of our top 2 have an accident, they're basically locked into position. The fight is going to be this one here for third. Critical and Sunshine have been dueling it back and forth for such a large portion of the day today. And if Critical nips Sunshine for third, that will continue to cut away Sunshine's points lead going into next week's race. The last race of the season, mind you. Sunshine has got to defend third position here with everything he's got. And when they come to the line, it will be 2 laps to go. Lear's already crossed the start-finish line, so it is 2 laps to go for him. Critical's gotten by Sunshine before. He needs to do it one more time to at least salvage a podium out of this. Oh, Sunshine's wide into the outside wall. Critical is as well. Critical has a gigantic run. He lunges to the inside. Side by side for third position through turn 1. Critical accelerates out. He's got the spot with 2 laps to go over Sunshine. Now into turn number 2. Critical right against the inside wall. He just barely taps the outside wall. He wrecks again. Critical wrecks again. And Sunshine did as well. They both had an accident. Sunshine is destroyed! In the rear, the driveline is destroyed! What about Critical? How damaged is his car? It's destroyed! It's totaled! Everything on Critical's machine is ruined! He's just barely coasting right now! Sunshine has 2 laps to nurse this driveline destroyed car around, and Vera might take home another podium! What in the devil has this race been? She's coming up on Critical now and will overtake him and Sunshine before they even get into the tunnel. I cannot believe what I have seen happen here. And here's the thing, Critical and Sunshine, technically, with these destroyed cars, these 2 are still racing for a position. Their cars are destroyed. They have no reason to be running, but they're still still fighting for fourth. Sunshine is fighting for a championship. Critical is fighting for pride. On this run uphill, though, I think Sunshine's going to have the big advantage because he does not have the same amount of engine damage. Critical's damage is significantly reduced. You see him pulling away now. I think that fight for fourth is going to settle here. As long as Sunshine doesn't hit another wall, it looks like fourth should be in the car. Well, now here's the real question, though. Does this duo decide to pit? They're fighting for fourth and fifth, but Dremora is 200 seconds out. Do these two just continue to circle around with destroyed cars? Because white flag is in the air right now. Last lap, it is the last lap. Larry is leading by a massive margin over Ludacris, 10.6 seconds. Yeah, do these drivers decide to pit or not? I think Sunshine could potentially just stay out. And yeah, even if Critical pits and will be back to being fast, he'd only have one lap to try and run him back down. I think this duo has to consider just staying out here. I'm reminded of the various times in NASCAR through the 90s and the 2000s where we would see two cars running 50, 60 laps down with half the sheet metal ripped off, and the two of them were fighting for position between them, and that's what we're seeing right now. Sunshine versus Critical. This fight has continued. It has basically been the slowest battle. Sunshine's pitting. Will Critical pit? Dremora stays out, and Critical will pit as well. So the fight for fourth is going to continue on. And we're going to keep an eye on that for sure. But what we really need to talk about here is Larry. Not a single podium all season long. But through consistency, he has put himself into the championship fight. And with 2 races left, the second to last race of the season, Larry, by just being clean and nimble, is going to bring it home. Grazi Ragazzi, Forza Ferrari, for Larry B the G, your winner here. And Ludicrous Speed brings his championship hopes back to life with an outstanding strategy and a solid second place finish here at Rio. Third place is going to go to Vera here, although she is like 50 seconds off of this fray. This is going to be a long time and still we see that. And again, the fight is going to be for fourth. Critical, can he run down Sunshine here in this last lap to nip him? I don't think so. The gap's opened up to 2.6 seconds. The engine damage that the Ferrari had was really, really problematic. And although Critical is going to be faster, I don't think he's going to be fast enough to catch that McLaren. Just going to continue watching this fight for fourth and fifth to the end, but it looks like it might be over. We'll start interviews once this is done. It seems like it's over with just 2 corners left. Sunshine has a 2.5 second advantage over Critical here. And while we do know that the Ferrari is light and nimble through these corners, the gap seems insurmountable. And for this position, in the end, Sunshine will bring it home over Critical against the fastest men today, but not even close to the podium in the end. And in the end, the last driver to finish, SDR Dremora, stuck it out, was involved in a bunch of different instances, but he has stuck it out and he is going to bring home a 6th place finish, something to kind of prepare him and fuel him with the upcoming race at Nürburgring in a week's time. All right, real quickly, we want to go ahead though and start our interviews. I want to start with our race winner. Larry B the G. Larry, all season long has been a struggle, not a single podium, and now today, you win by double-digit seconds. Include your audio, Larry. What do you have to say about that run out there?
No, you just don't crash. It's that easy. Yeah, just don't crash. Yeah, no, I mean, wow. I mean, yeah. I was coming here. I wanted to at least get a podium, but and then I figured I might get a little stinky between Sunshine and Critical. It looks like it did a little bit, and I got into the lead, and I wasn't so sure if I was gonna keep it over Sunshine. I was kind of weighing it out to pit at the end, but I think he had another incident, so I was able to hit and then just got into coast mode and brought it home really.
All right, well, with this victory, you were third in the championship coming into today. With this win, this really tightens up the title fight. One race left at Nürburgring Nordschleife. What do you think your chances are for the championship?
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really been paying attention to the points because I didn't think I was really in it, but whatever happens, I guess.
All right, outstanding drive one way or another. Grazi Ragazzi, Forza Ferrari, coming home in those great red familiar colors. I want to go ahead and talk with our second place finisher, Ludicrous Speed. Ludicrous, seems like your strategy overall paid off. You come home with a very clean, pretty much invisible second place and massively closed down the championship gap. What do you have to say about your run today?
Just like Larry, don't crash. I had one incident at the bottom of the hill going into the last chicanes where my rear right clipped a tire wall, spun me around. But the gods gave me mercy and I took no damage. I'm just like, how about that? Just kept driving. People kept wrecking. Was also able to get through that incident between Dremora and Critical somehow without hitting anything. I mean, the plan was to win.
I saw that. That was nuts.
Yeah, I was scared the entire time. Literally living in fear. Never thought I'd be fearful of my life on a video game, but here I am. The plan was to win on this strategy. I didn't account for Larry running an actual perfect race, so mad respect to him, but I'll take P2 after all that.
All right. The title fight between you, Sunshine, and Larry has all become very close with one race left, the Green Hell. What do you feel about your championship hopes with one race left?
Unless Sunshine and Critical can win it again and Larry not run a perfect race.
Critical's out of the title fight at this fight. At
rough.
this point. It's just you three.
Well, if Larry and Sunshine can both spin it and I can do what I did again today, minus the little spin, I think I've got a shot.
All right, I appreciate your blunt honesty. Not a win yet, but still, you've turned around the tailspin. Great run today. I want to talk with our third place finisher, Vera Tabinks. Vera, last week we were celebrating your first podium. How about back-to-back podiums on top of the season? Incredible performance. What do you have to say about your run today?
I would like to celebrate back-to-back podiums by killing Larry.
Sweet Christ alive!
Let the man enjoy his champagne first!
Oh. So I came here wearing a Hans device because this race is hell. And then next week we go to the actual hell, which I'm much more looking forward to.
All right, Vera, you're pretty much the only person across the season that's shown up for every single race. You've locked up the Rookie of the Year battle long time ago. It's very much locked up. Mathematically speaking, you're on the periphery of the overall championship fight. Do you think you have a shot at the title going into next week? It's a very distant periphery shot, but technically you're still in it.
I don't know. I mean, I know that before today I was tied with Larry in terms of points. But I don't really see my chances there, but I'm just going to keep trying.
All right, well, either way, fantastic drive last week. You follow up with a fantastic drive today. You have absolutely every reason to be proud and successful. just take the compliment. We're definitely gonna be looking forward to seeing what you can do at the Green Hell. And now I want to talk with Sunshine and Critical together, because you two, without a doubt, were the stars of the show. I can't fault you guys. Yes, you guys crashed more than anyone else, but the racing and the sheer showcase you put on today, literally every single moment was incredibly intense watching you two. Critical, Sunshine, I don't care. What do you guys have to say about that fight from start to end between you two?
Yeah, I'll second that. I heard keeping it on the wall was was critical.
Okay, I do want to go ahead and ask about the accidents that you guys had from your perspective, what happened, because I'm sorry to say, that's 5 different incidents between the two of you. I didn't see all of them. Elaborate on them from your perspective. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts on what happened were.
Which one?
All of them.
I didn't crash the first time coming out of the pits, but I nosed it into the tire wall. The second time. The third time, I was about a foot away from Critical's transmission when he hit the wall. It was a good overtake, and then he ran a little wide, and then there was force of geometry on the outside barrier. So that's what happened at the end of the race.
Alright, well, at least you guys are able to laugh at it, and you're not trying to kill people like we see Vera trying to strangle Larry on the podium, obviously. So I'll ask Critical a question first. Critical, mathematically, unless everyone ahead of you doesn't show up next week, you're out of the championship fight. What's your plans next week at the Green Hell in Germany? I can appreciate that. I feel that. I can appreciate that. I feel you on that, brother. All right, Sunshine, for you it's a little bit different. You were leading the points coming into today, but all three of the drivers behind you in the points, Larry, Ludacris, and Vera, they've all closed in on you in the championship fight with your 4th place finish. So the title fight's very close coming into Nürburgring. What's your strategy to try and take home the championship next week?
Just try and keep it clean. I mean, it's a long track, so even more so than Rio, where a little bit of damage can be unfortunate. So I think getting a clean qualifying would be the first step into doing it correctly, and then just not going off track for the rest of the race.
How likely do you think it's going to be that you can walk out here with the title?
Everything's up for grabs. It's a 16-mile track. I don't know. I hope so. But like I said, if Larry runs a good race and Alan runs a good race and I crash once, it's kind of over. So.
Well.
Yeah.
Realistically, as far as I can tell, it's a 4-person fight. I can't say a 4-man, but it's a 4-person fight for the title going into next week. I could see it going any way considering just how massive the circuit is, so yeah. Alright, well, either way, thank you very much, Critical and Sunshine, for putting on an incredible show. Even with destroyed cars, you two are still fighting it out, and it's been crazy to watch. Okay, one more person I want to talk to today, and that's SDR Dramora. Dramora, this has been a very interesting day for you today. Your team brought home some good finishes in a separate league. In the Group B race, you led a huge chunk of laps there, and was able to finagle some stuff to pull out a great deal of points there. Here today, you were right there in the thick of it of 2 different accidents with critical, but you still come home 6. What do you have to say about your run today? Here at Rio.
Well, obviously, to kind of clarify with something that did happen with the whole thing with critical. The one thing about that was, for some odd reason, he was ghosted on my end. So I really didn't get any damage from him. But then there was the other accident with Juice that eventually he had to bow out from. But I think today was just, maybe try and see if I can possibly. I know these are 2 separate leagues, but at least avenge what happened to me in the Formula E race a while back with AGRL. Like I said, totally different league, but it was just. I thought this was a pretty good race. I knew I wasn't gonna be that great, so I was like, just race this and mentally get ready for the green hell, pretty much.
All right, speaking of which, Green Hell, we know that you feel very confident about running there. What are your expectations at Nürburgring Nordschleife next week for yourself?
Well, yeah, even I can have a laugh at that. I was thinking in the back of my head, yeah, no, I don't know if I can win. But yeah, I guess, like I said, it's the same: survive, keep it clean. That's really it. If I can do those things, then maybe I might have. Then maybe, just maybe, I wouldn't say it's not a guarantee, but it might be a long shot. But I can say maybe a win might happen. Maybe not. I don't know. Point is, if I can keep it clean and survive, I'll count that as a victory either way. Surviving the green hell is a victory in and of itself, pretty much.
All right, well, I appreciate your honesty and keeping nice high hopes, but I'll just go ahead and say, don't keep your hopes so high that you end up burning your eyes looking at the sun. With that in mind, though, I've been your host for today's race, Insane Leader 13. Tomorrow, ATRL will be having their penultimate race at another tricky, annoying street circuit at the streets of Miami. Next week, both ATRL F1 and Sunshine 60's F1 League will be coming to their end. And until those times, I'm glad you can join us. I've been your host, Insane Leader 13. Thank you very much for joining us today, and goodbye.